Stop scrolling. Just for a second, because this moment might be the first time in your life you finally feel what freedom sounds like. The freedom that begins when you stop, truly stop, caring what other people think of you. Let this be the day, the moment, you reclaim your soul and live like you were never afraid of judgment. Now breathe and listen, because you've waited long enough. You've been carrying the weight of 1,000 opinions, like chains wrapped around your thoughts, around your smile, around your dreams. Every time you take a step, you feel them pulling you back. The voices of people who don't live your life, don't walk in your shoes, and don't understand your heart, but still, somehow, you've let their words decide who you are. Why do we give strangers the power to define us? Why do we shrink ourselves, dim our light, edit our truth, just to be acceptable in someone else's eyes? Isn't it strange how we forget who we are, trying to fit into a world that never even tried to know us? You were not born to be a reflection of their comfort. You were born to be the mirror of your soul, and every time you betray yourself to earn approval, a piece of your spirit fades into silence. Let me tell you something most people won't dare say. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that makes them feel safe. You don't have to say yes when your heart is screaming. No, you don't have to explain your dreams to people who've stopped dreaming. You don't have to apologize for your fire just because it burns their insecurities. You have been living under a spell, cast by fear, woven by the illusion that being liked equals being worthy. But here's the truth, etched into the bones of every soul that has ever awakened. They don't think about you as much as you think they do. They don't replay your mistakes. They don't analyze your every word. They are too busy managing their own storms. And even if they did judge you, what then? Does their opinion pay your bills? Does it tuck you in at night? Does it heal your heart when it breaks? So why are you handing them the keys to your peace? Listen closely now. You are not a canvas for their projections. You are not a stage for their expectations. You are not a puppet for their comfort. You are a soul, with purpose, with breath, with sacred scars, with a story only you can tell. And every time you silence your truth to avoid their judgment, you rob the world of your authenticity. You rob yourself of life. How many times have you said yes to things that crushed you inside? How many times have you dressed, spoken, moved, just to blend in, to belong, to not cause a stir? And yet, despite all that effort, you still feel unseen, don't you? Still feel unheard, unfelt, misunderstood. Because no matter how well you pretend, you can never replace the ache of being unknown. You think you're protecting yourself by fitting in, but really, you're disappearing. Fitting in is not belonging. Approval is not love. And comfort is not growth. You have one life, just one, and it's not a rehearsal. This moment, this breath, is part of your legacy. Are you really going to spend it trying to be someone else, trying to impress people who wouldn't notice if you fell apart tomorrow? Let that sink in. If you vanished today, how many of those people whose opinions rule your mind would even remember your middle name in a year? And yet here you are, sacrificing your joy for their comfort. Let go. Let go of the need to be liked. Let go of the fear of being misunderstood. Let go of the pressure to always be pleasing. Set yourself free, say what you mean. Do what makes you feel alive. Wear what feels like you. Chase what sets your soul on fire. They will talk. They always talk. Whether you rise or fall, whether you shine or stumble, they will always have something to say. So you might as well live. There is a version of you, buried beneath all the masks, who's been waiting to breathe. The version that laughs without checking if it's too loud. That dances without worrying about rhythm. That speaks without rehearsing. The version that was never afraid of being seen, because it never learned shame. That version is still there, waiting, hoping, begging you to stop caring what they think. When you finally stop caring, you don't become careless. you become weightless. You stop walking on eggshells and start walking on purpose. You stop bending backwards and start standing tall. You stop performing and start living. It's not easy, I know. Breaking free from years of people pleasing feels like tearing off skin that's grown around your truth. It hurts, but it heals. And on the other side of that pain is the peace you've been searching for. A peace that doesn't come from approval, but from alignment. A peace that whispers, I am enough as I am, without performance, without perfection, without permission. That peace is not given, it's chosen, and you can choose it now, right now. This moment, say it with me, I release the need to be understood by everyone. I am no longer available for shallow acceptance. I walk with truth, even if it walks me alone. Because I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. And one day, you'll look back on this moment as the beginning of your freedom. You'll remember the trembling in your chest, the uncertainty in your hands, but more than anything, you'll remember the silence that followed. The silence that said, finally, I am free. They don't define you. They don't own your worth. They don't write your story, you do. And it's time you picked up the pen. Stop waiting for their applause. You don't need it. You were born worthy, born free, born enough. So walk forward, not in arrogance, but in sacred self-respect. Speak gently, but truthfully. Love deeply, but without losing yourself. And live, truly live, as if their opinion was never a part of the equation. Because in the end, the only voice that will echo through your life is yours. Make it honest, make it fearless, make it free. You are enough, you always were, and you always will be. But maybe even now a part of you still whispers, but what if they're right about me? That small, aching voice inside, the one born from years of rejection, of criticism, of subtle glances that made you feel small. It still wonders, still doubts, still begs to be accepted, even by the ones who never really saw you. I hear you and I want to tell you. That voice isn't weak, it's wounded. It doesn't need your shame, it needs your love. You've spent years trying to be what they wanted, thinking if you were just a little quieter, a little nicer, a little more agreeable, they'd finally say, yes, you belong. But the truth is, you were never the problem. The problem was a world that taught you to shrink, to abandon yourself, to sacrifice truth for comfort and freedom for approval. But you are not here to play small. You are not here to tiptoe through life, hoping not to disturb. You are here to rise, to stand, to reclaim every piece of yourself you buried beneath their judgment. And if you still worry that being yourself will push people away, ask yourself this: what kind of love requires you to pretend? The love you deserve won't ask you to be less. The friends who truly see you won't run from your truth. And the peace you've been chasing will never arrive in a place of performance. So what if they don't like you? So what if they talk? So what if they never understand? Let them misunderstand you. Let them mock. Let them question. Let them walk away. You were never here to be understood by everyone. You were here to understand yourself. And when you do, when you stop waiting for permission to be real, you'll feel something that can't be faked: freedom. You'll stop walking into rooms and scanning for approval. You'll stop adjusting your light just to keep others comfortable. You'll stop giving them the remote to your happiness. Because you'll remember, you were always the source. You are not here to win them over. You are here to win yourself back. You are not here to meet expectations. You are here to break free. You are not here to blend in. You are here to belong to yourself. And if that means walking alone sometimes, so be it. Better lonely in truth than surrounded in pretense. Better honest silence than fake applause. Better your reflection flawed and free, than a mask polished by fear. So let's make a vow right here, right now. No more shape-shifting for strangers. No more smiling through self-betrayal. No more dimming to be digestible. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to be complete. And when you feel the pull, that aching need to prove yourself, to explain, to defend, pause, breathe, and remember, you don't need to be understood to be valid. You don't need their yes to move forward. You don't need their approval to be powerful. Your worth is not up for debate. Your value is not a vote. Your truth is not negotiable. You were born with it, breathed into this world with it, and no one, no matter how loud, how cruel, how insistent, can take it from you. This is the awakening, the unraveling, the beginning of something wild and raw, and real. You as you are, no filters, no edits, no apologies, and trust me, when you finally walk into your life like that, unapologetic, unmasked, undeniable, everything begins to change. Not because the world becomes kinder, but because you stop shrinking for it. Not because they finally accept you, but because you finally accept yourself. Not because the noise goes silent, but because you stop letting it guide you. You become the calm. You become the clarity. You become the courage. And every time someone tries to shame you back into the box you escaped from, you'll smile. Not in arrogance, but in sacred knowing that they can't control what you no longer need, that their opinions are whispers compared to the roar of your self-trust, that you don't belong to their version of you anymore. You belong to the truth, to your truth. And that is the most powerful place to live from. And when you live from that place, the world begins to reflect something different. It won't always be easier, but it will be clearer. You'll stop chasing connections that were only built on your silence. You'll stop investing in spaces that only value your obedience. You'll stop bleeding for people who never learned how to hold your truth without flinching. Because finally, you'll see it. Your energy is sacred. Your time, your words, your presence, they are gifts, not obligations. And when you know that, you stop offering them to the wrong altars. You stop begging to be seen. You stop auditioning for roles you were never meant to play. You begin to move differently, with softness, but with strength, with kindness, but with boundaries, with openness, but never at the cost of your soul. You stop explaining your no. You stop shrinking your yes. You stop watering yourself down just to keep the peace in rooms that were never built to hold your fullness. You become rooted, not in pride, but in purpose, not in arrogance, but in authenticity, not in noise, but in knowing, and people will notice. Some will be drawn to it, others will be intimidated by it. Let them feel whatever they need. It's not your job to manage their reactions. It's your job to live your truth. Because the moment you decide you're done being shaped by fear, you begin to be shaped by freedom. You start choosing peace over people pleasing. You start choosing joy over validation. You start choosing rest over proving. You start choosing you. And isn't that what you've been waiting for? That quiet permission to come home to yourself? That gentle reminder that you don't have to fix yourself to be worthy, that you don't have to be palatable to be lovable. You don't need their applause to be valuable. You don't need their understanding to be whole. You don't need their permission to take up space. You only need your own. So walk into every room like you belong, because you do speak with a voice that trembles, if it must, but don't silence it. Stand even if your knees shake, because your truth deserves a witness. You are no longer here to be invisible, no longer here to disappear, no longer here to perform. You are here to live fully, boldly, messily, honestly, and when the fear creeps in, and it will, when the old voices return and try to convince you to shrink again, pause, breathe, feel the rhythm of your heart, and remember, you are no longer who you used to be. You've grown, you've risen, you've returned, not to what they expected, but to who you truly are. And in that return, you've found something priceless, a life that feels like yours. So let them think what they want. Let them say what they will. Let them misunderstand you. It's okay. Because you understand yourself now. You know what you carry. You know what you survived. You know what it cost you to get here. And no one, no opinion, no judgment, no rumor can take that away from you. This is your life. Not, there's your voice. Not, there's your soul. Not, theirs. And from this moment on, you don't have to keep explaining your existence. You don't have to keep editing your spirit. You don't have to keep proving your worth. Just be. Let your presence speak. Let your silence speak. Let your joy, your peace, your boundaries speak. Let your truth speak. And as it does, you'll notice something beautiful. The right people will find you. Not the ones who want you small. Not the ones who need you silent. Not the ones who only stay when you're convenient. But the ones who see you, feel you, and meet you in your truth, without needing you to be anything else. Because now, you're no longer hiding. You're no longer bending to be loved. You are simply being, and that is enough, more than enough.